Greetings, my Israelite brothers and sisters, heirs, joint heirs, adopted, grafted, natural, spiritual. I hope that this video finds you all well. Thought I would talk to you a little bit today. We know that there was many praying at 9 o'clock, so I thought I would just jump on and talk about this case. Now, I probably would do something political on this all week long. There's a couple of notations I want to make with this case. And as you know, Amaud Arbery was out for a jog, and in the midst of jogging, he was shot and killed by a retired police officer and chased down with that retired police officer and his son. And they concocted a story, and evidence will show that. And the mother was told one story by investigators, and if it had not been for her persistence to chase down the truth, she would have never gotten that far. Had she accepted what they told her, was that the homeowner called in the fact that they had been previously burglarized and they see the subject, which that call never took place. But that's what she was informed by investigators. People pushed the issue, and the district attorney, because the retired police officer was assigned to the district attorney's office to conduct investigations for the district attorney on various other cases. Could be background information, verifying information, whatever his job was. It was one of those kind of gravy positions when you're on your way out the door. You got to know everybody. So it was difficult for people to push that button and convict the guy. So justice did not prevail at all. It did not prevail. And what ended up happening was they rolled it off and they ignored evidence, which not only is an ethical, legal issue, but it makes you an accomplice because you're covering up information that would otherwise have convicted. It's called tampering with evidence. That's what it's called, tampering with evidence. And what's so strange about this, finally, after pressure, the Georgia Bureau of Investigations got involved. I am still tripping, sorry about that, over the fact that these guys, their comments that they made. And here's the comments that the Georgia Bureau of Investigation made. They said, in essence, go back and look at it. We want to make it very clear we're only investigating a murder case. That's all we're doing. We're just investigating a murder case. And when they were asked if you would look into, is it your intent to look into this or that, meaning the fact that the case was not going to be prosecuted, the Georgia Bureau of Investigations repeatedly said, let me reiterate, we're only there to investigate the murder. That's it. Now, that sends a message that lets you know what their intent is right off the bat, and what their intent is not. Their intent is not to unravel cages. Their intent is not to go at other doing. They're going to investigate the murder, and that's it. And I'm sure that all parties have already lawyered up because they know that they have to, and it's still short of whatever that video shows. These individuals can add anything to that. They could say, well, before that, we asked him to stop, and I identified myself, and I told him I was investigating a burglary, and he continued to run. So that's why I stopped ahead. They can concoct anything. And the Georgia Bureau of Investigation could very well come back and say, that's all we got. And these individuals could very well get acquitted. So that's how things can roll with this. If you got a conviction, and if Georgia Bureau of Investigations revealed that evidence was not looked at, it was tampered with, it was anything else, trust me, they can do something. They can look at this, and it might be a simple misdemeanor charge for derelict of duty, official misconduct. There's a whole bunch of scenarios and cases that they could charge, but they made it very clear and plain. We're not there to investigate that. We're only going to investigate the murder. That in itself should send a red flag to everybody. Everybody should send a red flag. That is against the rules of engagement. I'm sorry, brothers and sisters. It just is. You all stand by just for 1 second. I'm stopped, and I'm just doing a switch of a view. So basically, yeah. So they have no intentions of doing anything, and that's what's even more sad about this. They're going to let these individuals go for derelict of duty, official misconduct, and a series of other things that they're going to overlook. Now, if you remember the impeachment proceedings when they were doing the investigations into whether or not there was wrongdoings with the Russia case, the reason why several people got arrested dealing with Donald Trump and the whole Russia investigation was because in the midst of investigating that, they came across other things, such as people lied and what have you. So that's what you do when you're looking at one thing and you come across another piece of wrongdoing. You don't just ignore it, like what Georgia Bureau of Investigation is saying that they're going to do. And they're going to do it, trust me. They're not going to investigate anything else. Thank you, Brother Charles. So they're not going to investigate anything else. I don't normally go deep into this. I kind of stay in my lane, but two of the sisters from our affiliates up in New York, they asked me to do a prayer. We prayed this morning to pray for the family, and I said, well, I'm going to get drawn in and to say something, and I did. And what I wanted to do was just basically look at the case to see the background as to everything that took place, because I heard about it, and when I heard about the case, I looked at it and I just says, wow, they didn't arrest these guys. And then I looked further into it. Then finally, over the weekend, they made an arrest. But again, it was the press conference that alerted me. It's the press conference that alarmed me when the Georgia Bureau of Investigations clearly stated we're only investigating a murder. And two of the reporters had asked, well, will you be looking into the district attorney's office to see if there's anything or any issues there? I'm paraphrasing, something to that effect. And he says, I want to make it very clear, we're only investigating the murder case. And then another reporter asked something about if evidence or something. Go and look at it. But they were asked about coming across something outside of the investigation. And they said, I want to make it very clear, as we previously stated, we're only investigating a murder case. And I said, man, if people don't hear what that guy's simply trying to say, what he's simply trying to say is, nope. If I come across the fact that they withheld evidence and out of that district attorney's office, which is official misconduct, derelict of duty, um, uh, there's several other things that's probably under the on the books in Georgia that they probably violated. Not only that, there's the Bar Association, which they can be dismantled or disbarred from. It's a lot of things, a whole lot of things, but they're not going to jump into that. They're not going to dive into those issues, and they've made it clear. They made their point. I just saw somebody says the good old boy network. Yeah, listen, Georgia is a good old boy network. I don't care what nobody say. It's riddled with a good old boy network. It just is. You're dealing with relatives and children and grandchildren of individuals who were part of the Klan system. And that mentality from their forefathers, they have gone into the workforce into key positions with that mentality. And they're not going to take and put all of their group and all of their connections who's a part of that, and they're not going to go out and take them down. A house is not going to work against itself. It just doesn't. Now, if they have to sacrifice two people for the sake of the underground institution, they'll do that. They do that. And if they do, it's going to be some charge like manslaughter. It's going to be something like manslaughter. And it's going to be like, well, it's manslaughter, but it's they can get up to 25 years, or the degree of manslaughter. And in 2 years, they're going to be out. I'm just telling you. You all remember the Zimmerman case? I mean, listen, don't get over surprised and don't get worked up. You know, I'm doing this for 3 days because I'm going to be a part of this prayer for the family in 3 days. But let me tell you something. Don't get worked up. Don't get worked up. This is you're in a land of captivity, and you should be aware of that. The only thing that you can do is to put a hedge of protection around you is get in the will of the Most High God. He's still in charge. That's it. He's in charge. And whatever happens, he's in charge. And that's how you have to look and accept and believe and know that that's the way things operate. Because he said this was going to happen. He told Israel, I'm going to scatter you among the four corners of the earth, and you're going to be the number one in all diseases. You're going to, in the morning, you're going to wish that it was night, and in the night, you're going to wish it was day. You're gonna have pestilence and diseases. That's why we're the number one in all chronic diseases. This is prophecy. Once you understand that, you're not bent out of shape about it. But you sometimes it's good just to highlight these things, which is what I'm doing over the next few daes. And I'm going to keep them within the car cam, because I want to keep my platform in the studio as for teaching. But I will bring the car cams 15, 20 minutes on this stuff. This is a chaotic situation. The video showed that they did not give him an option. You are so correct. It is so, Pastor. Yes. Is there any justice for our people? He was not transgressing the laws of man. Well, no, absolutely not. The fix is in. I lived in the metro Atlanta area for years. This is Rodney Frederick. Those good old boys stick together. The Cobb district attorney is a mouthpiece for the agenda. Um, Making his last 5 to 6 years working as an investigator possibly unlawful. Um, well, no. Well, let me just explain this. A lot of district attorney's office have what they call state attorney investigator. Now, they're not state attorneys, but they're state attorney or district attorney investigators. It's a sworn position. A lot of them don't have the budget for that, so they work with the local sheriff's office or the police department who assigns people to those district attorney's office. And it's usually the older officers who are on the way out the door. They call it a gig, they call it a bone, on their way out the door. So that's where that came in from. So yeah. So the only thing is that it's a shame that you have this young man in his 20s. Um, he's gone, and you're going to have more. You're going to have more cases like this. And when when the Republicans win the election, you're going to have even more. There's a sense of on the way out the door. Those last 4 years is going to be something, you know. But I can tell you that it be incumbent upon you to rest in the secret place of the Most High. Get into His bosom. Get into the Word, and the Almighty will place a hedge around you. He really will. He'll put a hedge of protection around you, and that's what you have to do, so that you're always protected by His guardian angels who watches over us and who's been assigned to watch over us. And that's what we have to do. Other than that, this stuff is going to continue to happen because it's documented in the Word that it's going to happen. It's this case this month. In the summer, it's going to be something else. And then it's going to be something else. These things will happen. There's one that's probably already happened. It just doesn't have the publicity yet. Okay? So it happens all the time. So just to share that with you. So in terms of the what's going on tonight, I'm going to be online tonight. We've been doing some other different types of topics just to keep, our information and our understanding going. Last night we did a lesson on Pilate, Pontius Pilate, and bringing out some understanding on that. Tonight I have a group of subjects that I have written down that came upon my mind, and I'm going to be looking at one of those to come with tonight as well. I did a video that they took off, and it was titled The House of Prayer for All People. If you go look for that, YouTube took it off. They said there was a copyright violation, and it was. I had played a song, and it was my understanding that I could play the song, but I couldn't, so they took the whole video down. So I may do something on that again tonight just to kind of bring it back so that the lesson is there in the archive, but we'll see. So I may do a remake of that lesson, or I may do it next week sometimes. Thursday night, we're going to have Tyrone Holton on. He has a very inspirational testimony. I play his music, and it's called his music. He's the artist T-Dog. He's done some stuff with some other major artists, and he's sticking with the gospel realm, and proud of him for doing that. He's a local individual, but very, very busy, very active. His stuff is really out there on the market. He just dropped a new EP last week, and he's going to share that information with us as well. So that's going to be tomorrow night. Other than that, peace and blessings to all of you all, and we will talk soon.